Hello again and welcome to the Warhammer 40k Mordian Glory video. So in today's video I will be doing sort of a big tournament review, recap, after action report on the doubles tournament that I was at this weekend on the 13th and 14th at Games Workshop. I believe it was the Throne of Skulls Battle Brothers doubles tournament. And it was absolutely fantastic. That's what I want to start off with, guys. This is going to be a very positive video. The event was 5 games across 2 days. You got lunch both days, which is obviously always a big thing. I have to say that it was very, very fun. It was very, very good. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to initially break down sort of what was involved with the tournament and the rounds, and what army I brought, who my partner was and what army he brought, general review of the event, and then what we'll do is I'll go through a game-by-game breakdown of what we faced and what I learned from each game. Okay? So first thing, starting off, the event was held at Warhammer World in Nottingham, and it's been a while since I've been to Warhammer World. I always say, it's only been like a couple of years since I've been to Warhammer World. I've been saying that for quite a while now. I think it could be as long as 6 years. Put it this way, it's changed a lot since I last went. When I last went to Warhammer World, they were doing loads of construction, they were doing construction work on the new entrance, so you couldn't go through that. There was like a little side entrance you went through. You couldn't go through the main entrance hall, which I went through that obviously this time, and really, really impressive. You go in, they've got display cases on each side. There's a big staircase and everything. Oh yeah, absolutely. It looks really cool. And you go up the staircase and you go straight in, and there's the Warhammer shop in front of you, and it's fantastic. The Warhammer shop. I'm used to my sort of local Games Workshop, which is pretty good and stocks most of the main things, but I think they have every Warhammer model available at Warhammer. I don't think there's a single one they don't have, and they have things which they don't even sell online anymore. So I don't know if this is true, but I remember a while ago you couldn't get the Deathwatch Overkill set because it was only for when Deathwatch first came out, and it was Deathwatch was the Gene Stealers, and that used to be the only place you could get Aberrant models until they released new ones. So it was quite difficult to get. You had to sort of scour your local Games Workshop and hope they had one in the back room. Nope, I saw first day I went in, they were stacking them up. So obviously they sold everything there. Like for example, it's a bit of a weird one, but I noticed. They were selling the Chaos Cultist Uprising kit. I've not seen that in 3 years, and it's where you're getting a Spine Champion and four squads of cultists for a pretty good discount. And they just had one of those chilling out on the shelves. And they obviously had that with all the new stuff as well. So really, really cool. I picked myself up a bit of loot. I picked myself up a couple of characters that I wanted for my Black Templar army. I got High Marshal Helbrecht, because I feel like you can't be a Black Templar player and not have Big Daddy Helbrecht running your force. And I also picked up Chapter Master Gabriel Seth for the Flesh Tears. And some of you might be wondering, oh, is this yet more Heresy Mordian Glory? Well, no, it's not actually. It's I'm going to use him as a captain, martial law Black Templar captain, the one that runs around with the teeth of terror. So that's why I went for Gabriel Seth, because if you don't know, he's got a massive 2-handed chainsword, and I think that'll look quite good. So yeah, a couple of things for my Black Templars, just a couple of characters that I've been meaning to pick up for a while. They were in Finecast, but I have to say, and maybe this is just coincidence, maybe not, but the Finecast I got from Warhammer World was really high quality, no flaky shit. No warping, no flashing, no problems at all. Not a single problem. And whenever I've bought Finecast online, it's always been a bit dodgy. So just something to be able, because you can see it before you buy it. So obviously you can see the. So I flicked through and just made they all looked fine, but I flicked through and just made sure I got one that was absolutely fine. So that's the good thing about going to one, when you can make sure you see your fine cast before you get it, so you can get yourself a good one. So yeah, there you go. And then you go out of the shop, and you've got the main gaming hall, and it's immense, guys. It's huge. It just reminds you of a great hall in a castle. It's all themed. It's fantastic. There's table after table after table, all Games Workshop terrain, all Games Workshop boards. So you have the plastic boards that slot together, all that shit, all the terrain fully painted to a fantastic standard. And it really, really made the event. It really, really made the event. Just having just lovely terrain to play on all weekend. Really, I can't tell you. It made a huge difference. It made a huge difference. And the terrain on every table was good. There was no table I went to where I thought, this is bullshit, there's too much terrain, or this is bullshit, there's not enough terrain. They had the terrain balance right down, which is not only looks good, but is good for game balance, which is important. So yeah, and then there's obviously they've got Bugman's. They've got the massive Forge World shop. Last time I went, the Forge World shop was like a little corner in the Games Workshop shop, and the Games Workshop shop wasn't very big. So huge Forge World shop. You can buy anything from Forge World in there. Absolutely fantastic. I meant to pick up a couple of Deathcore Creed characters for my Steel Legion, and I got all excited. I forgot to get them. I was tired on the second day, and we just went home, and I forgot to get them. So a little gutted about that, but it just gives me an excuse to go back again. So there you go. And again, you could see the characters before you bought them. So you know, I bought Deathcore Creed stuff online from Forge World, and it's come and it's been awful quality. When you go into the shop, they've got all the best bits there. So again, recommended. You can buy things. You can buy Titans. You can buy anything. And the Forge World shop is huge now. It takes up a whole wall. It's really big. So definitely recommend it if you want to go and get yourself some Forge World stuff of high quality. Go and check that out. So that's then you've got Bugman's Bar. And Bugman's Bar is great. So there you go. That's that. Bugman's Bar. It's reasonably priced. For a pint, I was generally paying between £3.50 and £4 a pint, and that was both for like alcohol and for sort of fizzy drink like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, whatever it is, you know. And you could get water for free. So they gave you as much water as you wanted if you needed it. And the food was relatively reasonably priced as well. On the first day, I got breakfast there. It was £3.50 for a bacon bun. Which is good, because when you normally, let me tell you, I've been to these places before, like, you know, not to Bugman's, but to sort of shops attached to event venues, and normally the food is shit and it's way over cost. It's like £10 for a crap burger, like a bloody microwave burger. Not at all. I got my bacon bun on the first day. So much bacon in it, it was spilling out. The thing was falling apart. The guy I went with, Jez, he got full English, and it was insane. You got fried bread, you got beans, you got hash browns, you got bacon, you got sausage, you got everything. So yeah, really recommend Bugman's. For the prices were more than reasonable. I've paid a lot more for a lot less events, so that was really, really good. So yeah, that's all the venue. Absolutely fantastic. I can wholeheartedly say you should definitely at some point make a pilgrimage to Warhammer World. It's really, especially, obviously I went on an event day, so it was really busy and had a great atmosphere. So if you're gonna go, if you just want to sort of, they have all the museums and stuff as well with all the dioramas in, which is absolutely fantastic. But if you're gonna go and you want to sort of just soak it all in, I wouldn't go on an event day because it'll be busy. If you want to go and sort of experience a really nice environment, like a busy, like a bustling environment, then definitely go on one of the events. So speaking of the event itself, the format was roughly doubles team 900 points each. it was rule of 2 rather than rule of 3, so you can only take like 2 company commanders or sort of 2 squadrons of leading Russers or something. Apart from with troops and dedicated transports, you could take as many of those as you wanted, which is good. It was randomly determined Maelstrom of War and a mission or Eternal War mission. You didn't play both at the same time, like in sort of the ETC format. It was either Maelstrom or Eternal War. It's not ITC at all. These are randomly determined each round, and you never played the same game twice. All the missions were from Chapter Approved 2018, all of them. Not a single main rulebook mission or Chapter Approved 2017 mission. And so that was your list. Forge World was allowed. Any armies could ally together. That was no problem. That was pretty much it in terms of list restrictions. There wasn't a huge amount of restrictions. The thing was, your army, you built it as 2 separate armies, but then you combined it into one battle-forged force. Okay, so it wasn't that's important, and that was important for the list that I brought, because what it went was my teammate was able to deploy his entire 900-point force on the table, and then as Genestealer, I could then ambush my entire 900-point force if I wanted to. So that was very nice. You did have 2 warlords, and you for each army, and you scored. There was a number of the way you scored the points. Right, was you had your tournament score, which is how many points you scored in the mission, just standard score. You had how many warlords you killed, so there was a prize for if you killed the most warlords, and plus got loads of other stuff. Linebreaker First Strike was in there as well, and then you also got points value of the enemy force destroyed. So that was so all that went into the melting pot, and then this is the really interesting thing: your score, your final sort of score, got times by the number of favourite game votes. Okay, so if you brought a really hardcore list, smashed every opponent you came across, but were a complete, and scored maximum points on the mission, on killing your enemy, on warlords, you got maximum sort of tournament score, but everyone hated playing against you because you were a big knob end, or they just didn't give you any or just maybe you just didn't get any favourite game votes, because there was always the problem that people just vote for their friends. Then your overall score got times by 0, which equals 0. So there's a big incentive for you to bring fun lists, but also be a nice person. If you're a knob end, if you're not very nice, then you're not going to get any favourite game votes. Now, unfortunately, the system is a little rigged, because people do tend to go to these things in big groups, and the groups tend to vote for their friends. That's the only criticism of the event I have. I'm saying this now, guys, before any of you go, oh, he's just saying that because he got no favourite game votes. I don't know what position I came in this tournament, and I don't care. Not in a horrible way, as in I don't care. As in, I just had fun. It was a really, really, really fun event for me. So that's the only criticism. The other, not really criticism, but thing to be aware of, you might be able to tell my voice sounds a bit gruff. It was loud in the event hall. It was loud. There were 100 teams, at least 100 teams, with 2 people on every team. There were 200 people there, at least. So it was a big. Yeah, it was a lot of noise, but it was still very. But so my voice is a bit worn out, but I haven't got a sore throat. It's just a bit gravelly from sort of shouting. So that's how the tournament ran. That's how the lists ran. 3 games on the first day, 2 games on the second day. The days were long days. That's something to be aware of. This normally with these events, they start early and they have like kickoff at like 9:30. and then you have like half an hour for your lunch, and the rounds are 2 30 minutes. So it goes, you play your first game, you play your second, play your first game, have lunch, play your second game, 10-minute break, play your third game, bam. And you start early, you finish. Most people want to finish like 5:30, 6 o'clock. Games Workshop events, it's a lot more casual. It's a lot more casual. So we didn't start till 10:30. Okay, and there's 2.5 hours between each round, but it was a bit flexible. 2.5 hours between each round. Then you got an hour for lunch, 2.5 hours for your next game, then half an hour break, then 2.5 hours for your next game. So we didn't end up finishing. We didn't end up finishing until 7:45 on the first day. That's a long day. That's a 10-hour day. Starting at 10:30, finishing at roughly 7:30. So what, like a 9-hour day, roughly, like a roughly 9-hour day. That's a long day. You know, but fortunately, it goes very, very quickly. Second day, even though there's only 2 games in the second day, it didn't finish until like 6, because we didn't start till like 10:30, almost 11 o'clock, and then you had an hour half, then you had your hour off. And, yeah, so it was a long day. Yeah, it finished at roughly 6 because I got home at roughly 7:30. So there you go, between an hour and a half. I know it's an hour and a half either way. So that's sort of the event format, guys. That's the missions. That's sort of the overall event. Now, let's get to the lists that I brought and that my teammate brought. Okay, so my teammate was Jez, absolutely fantastic guy. I've known him for years. He's a supporter of the channel, but I've known him since way before I did YouTube. We go to the same club. We probably play each other sort of once a month. You know, we're good friends, but we've never been to an event together. And it was actually him who invited me, and it was really, really nice. A little bit of backstory this. He's invited me to a few events, but I've always, not intentionally, I've always sort of had to bail or sort of half commit and then not go. I never bailed like last minute, but you know, I've always been like sort of like, oh yeah, I'd love to go to that. Oh, I can't make it, kind of thing. And it, you know, absolute credit to Jez. He just even you know, most people would have invited you to sort of 1 or 2 events and then gone, oh well, he's not interested, kind of thing. But I genuinely did want to go. It just something always else came up, and he always kept inviting me. And finally, we went to a doubles event together, and it was really, really nice. It was really great, and we know each other. And it's fantastic. So that was nice. So my teammate was great, and I have to say everyone we faced at the tournament was great, but we'll get into that later. So me and Jez decided that we wanted to bring a hard list. Okay, at the end of the day, we were like, it's a tournament, but it's also got to be fun for everyone. So we brought a hard list, but not an insanely batshit broken list. We dialed it back a little bit. So we'll start off with my list, which I've got, should be the first picture that's running through in the loop. I brought a battalion and a vanguard. My battalion, I had my patriarch, who had to be my warlord, obviously, and he had the hive cult warlord trait to give me reroll 1s, because you guys know I love that shit. And I had the Jackal Alphas with the sniper lady on the bike. And then I had 5 squads of 10 neophytes. And initially when I wrote the list, I was like, I'll take 2 squads of 20 and a squad of 10. And then I realised, like, well, no, there's no point. Like, just take 5 squads of 10, it's more flexible. So I took 5 squads of neophytes. And the thinking behind that was it was just troops to score objectives. It was just some bodies. I like that. I like that sort of. I like my neophytes, and it's just extra screening and stuff. It wasn't overly competitive. There were a few Gene Stealer cult players there, and let me tell you, I think I was possibly the only one that brought neophytes. Everyone else brought acolytes, and every time people faced me, they're like, "Oh, you're bringing neophytes? Oh, they're not that good, are they?" And to be fair, neophytes aren't like they're okay, but when they're sort of when they've not got any special weapons or anything, they're all right. They're average. So that was sort of the softer side of my list because it was basically a bunch of lasguns. It's a big blob of just some ambushing lasguns, but it fit in with the theme because Jez, my ally, brought guard and a knight, and the theme we had sort of going for the army was, I'll say it now, was that we had my guys obviously hive cult, so they're like professional, they're like professional soldiers in inverted commas, and they've obviously infiltrated the guard, and the knight doesn't know or doesn't care that all the people that are like supporting him are cultists or infiltrated. He doesn't care from whence the serfs come, from where the minions come from, as long as he's just got minions supporting him. He doesn't care about the little people. So that was kind of the fluff we were going for, like professional hive cult have infiltrated the local sort of garrison on this feudal world, and they almost not tricking the knight, but they're following the knight around as it kills things to further their own agenda. So that was the theme, that was the fluff, that was the storyline we came up with behind our army, which is why my guys were hive cult and Jez's guys were Cadian, because it was like two sort of professional soldiers, and it worked quite well because a lot of my guys were obviously like I have a good mix of neophytes and brood brother models mixed in together, so it works quite well. So that was the sort of softer part. No special weapons, lots of little shooty guns, just literally a congregation around my patriarch, and those guys just went together forever. That was it. And then I took my hard part of my list was a big blob of 10 aberrants, 2 hypermorphs with heavy improvised weapon each, 2 power hammers, 6 power picks and rending claws. They were supported by a Primus, of course. They were supported by a Clamavus, of course. And then I made a last minute change to my list. So I decided I was going to take this in like a patrol detachment, and it was going to be I don't know how I was going to figure it out, but it's going to take this in patrol detachment, and because I was going to take an Acolyte Icon Ward, so it would have been the Primus and the Acolyte Icon Ward with a Clamavus and a squad of troops and the Aberrants, and that would be my patrol. And I made a last minute decision to change, because I was going to take the Acolyte Icon Ward because I wanted to have the +1 strength banner all the time, and obviously the reroll ones and the feel no pain would have made a lot of sense. And I made a last minute change, and I went for the Biophagus instead, the aberrant buffing guy, because one, there were 2 reasons behind it. Okay, the first reason was if I did that, I was able to save a few points, and it meant I could get a familiar for my broodlord, for my patriarch, and then I was able I didn't use my relic on the banner, I could use my relic on the crouchling, and then my broodlord, even though he knows 3 psychic powers, you can only cast 1, but then a bit more tactical flexibility. So I saved a couple of points there, but I saved 6 points. It's nothing. But the real reason I want to take it is because the Acolyte Icon Ward is the obvious choice. It's the competitive choice. Okay, but 10 aberrants are really hard. Okay, and I wanted to dial it back a little bit, and also I wanted to try the model out. The model has to be one of my favourite Genius of the Occult models. It's full of character. It's proper Dr. Zoidberg. It's sinister. It's great, the Biophagus. For those of you that don't know, he's like a mad doctor, essentially, who sort of experiments on the aberrants. And another good thing about it, which I didn't intend until after I put it together, is because I had 3 elites. I had my aberrants, my Biophagus, and I had my Clamavus. And then I had a Primus. That's 3 elites in HQ. I was able to get a Vanguard, so I got an extra command point out of it. So by going a bit softer and a bit fluffier, I actually ended up getting rewarded for it and got an extra command point, which worked out very nicely. So that was it. So the list was and the list that Jez brought was, again, it was a hard list, but it was we toned it down where we could. So we took Jez had just had his Night Castellan painted up, and he really wanted to take it. I think he had painted the last couple of months, and he hadn't. I don't think he'd taken it to an event yet. So we were like, okay, cool. Let's take a Night Castellan. You know, it's a tournament. It's hardcore, but there's going to be loads of people running them, and there were a fair few Knights and Night Castellans. So, you know, it was fair enough. And to be fair, if you go into a tournament, you should expect to be able to face a Knight and a Night Castellan. And then we took it was like a Loyal 32. So obviously immediately you guys are going, oh well, that's just pure hardcore cheese. Yeah, kind of. But then we took the Loyal 32 and made it totally inefficient. So, for example, we put an auto. You know, Jez was like, well, you know, I want to put an autocannon in each squad. He always runs autocannons in his infantry squads. So he puts, you know, you wouldn't normally do that if he hadn't taken the autocannons and a few other things. You know, he could have taken another squad. He could have taken like an engine series in another detachment, like fix his knight. There's loads of things he could have done. But we were like, no, we're going to take some fluff upgrades. So we took some autocannons on the infantry squads. They did nothing all tournament, but they were cool. They looked good. No, we took a couple of mortars squads as well. But then we only took like one company commander. Or was it? Yeah, it was like one company commander, one Lord Commissar, and then like a basic Commissar. So what I mean, like we didn't go like full Loyal 32. It was a Loyal 32, which we made the infantry squads basically 5 points per guy, and you know, we took Commissars instead of like company commanders and stuff, because you know, it was too obvious to take Knight and Loyal 32. We wanted some other shit in there. The Commissars did nothing. All thing, but they were cool. They led from the front all the time. So the company command sort of stayed back and ordered them. 2 Commissars were like leading from the front. You know, we had like some fluff upgrades in there as well. I think Jez had like some some spare points. We had like a couple of plasma pistols rocking around, stuff like that. You know, just stuff like that. You know, just fluff upgrades. So we had a hard list, but I had a hard list, but I didn't have like a flamer. You know, because I could have taken in my list 20 acolytes with hand flamers and 2 neophyte squads, and boom, I could have taken that instead. Wouldn't have even needed the patriarch then. I could have really gone hardcore. You know, Jez could have taken just a Loyal 32. And the knight, and then taking some other shit to make his knight even more hardcore, but we didn't. We put some upgrades on our infantry squads. We've run a little bit fluffy, but it was. I'm not excusing anything here. It was a hard list. We did want to go and win some games. We didn't want to go and get smashed. We wanted to go and win some games. We wanted to have fun at the same time. So it was a hard list that I'd say, toned down from like 100% power to like 90% power, 85%, 90% power. So it was still very powerful, but we had made some effort to tone it down a little bit, and that was very much reflected in our in our games, which I will talk about now. Oh, sorry guys. So game 1 is randomly drawn, completely randomly drawn. And we played against Adam and Gareth, and so want to say, I'll say this every time, but absolutely fantastic opponents, great guys. I didn't have a single problem with any of the opponents, but absolutely great guys. We had a laugh, had some epic moments. It was their first event in a while, I think they said. They've been to events before, but it's their first event in a while. And they had brought the fluff, sort of. They hadn't brought an absolute hardcore list. They had a very interesting list, but it wasn't a hardcore list. What they'd essentially done is they'd got a couple of boxes of the new box set, which the name eludes me now. So it's Shadow Spear with the Black Legion and the Primaris. They had a couple of boxes of that, and what they'd done is they built their armies from that. So they had Black Legion and Space Wolves working together. So basically their army was Shadow Spear. So they had a couple of the Venom Crawlers with a couple of masters of possession, a couple of greater a couple of greater possessed as well, and then 3 5-man Chaos Space Marine squads. Very cool. And then they had on the other side of things, they had Space Wolves as Primaris Space Wolves, which they painted up. All the colours were done. All the colours painted, nice looking armies, and they painted up. And the Space Wolf guy had the Infiltrators, which are like the tactical Primaris Marines. Very cool. Seeing the models in the flesh now, they're the only models I've seen in the Primaris range which have made me go, I like Primaris. Not a big fan of any of the other ones. I'm one of those guys that's like, no, don't like Primaris, old school Marines. That is basically me. But yeah, the Infiltrators look very cool, and so do the name eludes me, the Vanguard Marines. The ones that can have got the sniper bolt rifles. They're very cool with the camo cloaks and stuff. So they had a squad of they had 2 5-man squads of the tactical Primaris. They had a squad of the sniper ones with a character that buffed them. I don't know if it was Primaris Sergeant Tillian. I don't know if it was. It looked like Primaris Sergeant Tillian, but it wouldn't have been because it was Space Wolves. But that's what he looked like. He was a character. And a squad of Intercessors. The new stealthy tactical Primaris Librarian. And then they had 5 Wolfen. Just out of nowhere, 5 Wolfen. And they were the old school Wolfen models, which I have to say, sorry Games Workshop, but the old school Wolfen models look infinitely better than the new ones. They look they're so much. The new ones look like half shaved, and the old ones look like they're gonna teach you a lesson. And they had Thunderhammer, Storm Shield, and they had Thunderhammer, Storm Shield, and the leader had claws, and then they had a custom made sentry gun because I think they had some points left with 2 las cannons. So that was what they had. The mission name eludes me, but I think it's Cut Off the Head. It's the one where you have to assign vital intelligence points to your characters, and so there was 3 points you had to give to one to each warlord, and then there was one that you could choose where it went. So obviously one on the Patriarch, one on one of the company commanders, and one on the Lord Commissar. And then they put one on a Master of Possession, one on the Infiltratee Camo Cloak Tactical Librarian, and one on the Sniper character. And it was so, to be honest, our list was a lot harder than theirs, but they almost won it because it was a reflection of, I guess, both sides tactically were equal. It was their first event in a while. It was my first Warhammer World event. It was my first event in a while, which I want to talk about later. And so what happened was I put my entire army in reserve. Jez had his knight in the back. It was a table corner. It was Vanguard Strike deployment. Table quarters. We had the knight in the back corner, and we screened it with the guard. Now, they went first, which meant Jez had to survive 2 turns of the entire enemy army shooting him, and they did a good job. They cleaned out all the guard screen very quickly. The Wolfen, we made a small mistake and we left a gap for the Wolfen, which they managed to get in, but I think they made a tactical mistake here because they were like, oh, we can get the Wolfen in the gap behind the lines. But the Knight was still screened by a mortar squad, and the mortar squad screened it in a way where the Wolfen were over 12 inches away from the Knight, so they couldn't declare it as a target of the charge. Now, I know Wolfen can like fight twice and stuff, but they can't fight something they don't declare as a charge, from what I understand. So they threw the guys into the gap, turn 2, killed the mortar team, consolidated close to the Knight, but not quite close enough, and then just had to sit there and take it. And if it had been me, I think that one decision lost them the game, because the Knight then was able to rampage. So what they should have done, because we use a lot of command points very quickly, because I need to use 3, potentially 4 for perfect ambush on the aberrants, and Jez needs to use 3, potentially 4 for rotate ion shields on his Knight. So, and we only start off with something like 12. So we blow through like 8 command points in a turn, and that doesn't leave us a lot left over. So if they just waited a turn, cleared out some screens, forced us to rotate iron shields and stuff a couple of times, we wouldn't have been able to interrupt. And then those Wolfen could have gone in through a gap, got the charge on the Knight, fought it. I think they've got a strategy to fight twice. We couldn't interrupt. They fight twice, and then when they die, they can fight again. So there's a very good chance they could have killed the Knight in one go. As it was, they didn't kill the Knight, and because of that, the Knight cleared them away. The Castellan just cleared them away. So that was the big mistake they made. That was the big mistake. I came in turn 2. My 50 neophyte blob just went against some Chaos Space Marines, and it was quite funny actually. Because I thought, oh, I'll kill. I've got 50 neophytes hitting on 2s because I used focused chilling efficiency, rerolling 1s. Yeah, I'll definitely kill them. Oh my god, no. It took me 2 rounds of shooting, 50 in rapid fire range, so 50 guys, it's 200 shots, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, to kill 5 Chaos Space Marines in cover. So you see what I mean? Like, when people, it's not a hard, it's not, neophytes, I don't think the neophytes got the points back at any point in the tournament. That's not what they were there for. They were there to just be my loving throng around my patriarch, basically. The aberrants, on the other hand, were an amazing distraction card effect. So the aberrants came in against 2 venom crawlers, and a master of possession and greater possessed. One of the venom crawlers was already dead, so they went in against a venom crawler, master possession, and greater possessed. Killed them all. I think I only got to roll half of my attacks. Now, this is where the Biophagus comes in. So I had the Biophagus as a little minion, and I realised that I rolled 2d6 and I got to pick which one I want, and I was like, I got to choose between extra attacks or extra strength, which is so good. I never got the toughness one. Weirdly, through the whole tournament, I never rolled the toughness one, but it was so good I got those 2 every time. Because in this instance, it was like, well, actually, I'd like the extra strength, because then I'll be strength 6, and then if I get Might from Beyond off, I'll be strength 7, and then I'm winning his Venom Crawler on 4s, rather rerolling 1s thanks to the Primus, that I can pick that unit, and suddenly I can just eat through that thing with my pickaxes, no problem. Or I can wound it on 2s rerolling 1s, my big hitters. That was, and I don't need that many attacks because I'm already doing like D3 wounds with everything, and there's not that many wounds there. So that was nice. But then there were times when it was like my strength is not going to get, like when in the second game, which I'll talk to you later, where having extra strength did not matter. I was going to be winning on 5s no matter what. But having extra attacks did matter because it meant I had more chances to wound. Made such a difference. Biophagus, I have to say, I actually think could be better than the or is at least as good as the Acolyte Icon Ward with Banner, because he gives you flexibility. Because you're not always going to need +1 strength. Sometimes you're facing a horde, you're going to need extra attacks. So there you go. So I came in. The Space Wolves got cleared out pretty quickly. I came in, but the thing is, it was neck and neck. So they cleared the guard screen out. I came in and smashed them with my aberrants. My acolyte, my neophytes didn't do very much, but then they just they perfectly countered my aberrants. They had a psychic power which halved my movement, halved my charge, and then they just killed them in 2 turns. So my aberrants died. All the guard were dead, and turn 3, we were neck and neck in points. In fact, we were neck and neck. There was nothing in it. But then the knight had finished off the Wolfen. It killed one of the Venom Crawlers. They've been making very good saves with their invuns and stuff, and in general. But then the luck just turned on them, and it went from being this game could go either way. They've killed all the aberrants, all the screen. The neophytes aren't doing a lot. There's just a knight left. The knight has taken damage, from the sentry gun. The knight had taken some damage. It wasn't operating at full power. This could go either way, and suddenly, but it was like they held on, and then they just crumbled. Suddenly, their characters weren't screened as effectively. We were able to then start killing characters. We were able to start getting intelligence points. They weren't scoring as much, and like I said, and their saves went to shit. I was shooting 10 autogun rounds at a Primaris squad, hitting on 4s, no rerolls, and killing one. Because even though you had 2 saves to make, you got double 1. Use a reroll, gets another 1. So their saves went to shit turn 3 onwards. We got to turn 5, and unfortunately, I had 30 neophytes left, and my patriarch. I lost everything else. We had the knight left, but unfortunately, we'd killed all their characters. They just had a 5-man Chaos Space Marine squad left over. So it very much, like I said, it crumbled. It was neck and neck, neck and neck. And I honestly can say to my opponents, they played it perfectly, perfect target priority, did everything they should have done, apart from they brought those Wolfen in too early. If they had, again, I don't want to go over it, but if they'd waited between the damage the Wolfen could have done, plus that sentry turret with the twin las cannon they had, they could have killed the knight, and if they'd killed the knight, it wouldn't have been left rampaging. But as it was, it got left to rampage after that. That was the problem for them. So that was game 1. Nice. We had a hard list, but we won convincingly. Our opponents were great. So then, it was a nice way to start the tournament for us. We had a nice game, nice win, convincing win. Yeah, enjoyed that. So then it was time for game 2. And game 2 was very funny because we actually ended up playing against a couple of our friends. So there's a big group. Me and Jez had gone down with a big group of 14 people. And it was really good. And we went out for dinner on the Friday. Went out for dinner on the Saturday. And we ended up, out of the 100 odd people were there, we ended up playing against two of our friends. So that was nice. And they had a really interesting list. And they thought, they said, we're going to lose this. We're going to get smashed. We're going to get absolutely smashed. And let me tell you, it was so, again, really close game. So their list was 2 knights, a gallant and a crusader, and custodes. Custodes, they had 3 bikes, 3 Terminator custodes, 5 regular custodes, and a captain. They had 0 command points to start off with. They were like, we don't need command points. We don't need them. We were like, are you sure? Yeah, we don't need them. So obviously they were trying something out, but they got turn 1 again, and the mission was Maelstrom of War, where you just drew 4 cards every turn. It was something basic. Yeah, just drew 4 cards every turn. So, pardon me. So that was so that was Motion of War, and it was, what's it called? It was Lengthways. It was the long one. I can't remember the name of it now. The deployment zone, but it's where you go the lot. You know, lengthway, the opposite of Dawn of War, basically. And I decided I was going to go all off Jez Screen's Knight, and they got first turn. And they said to themselves, you know what? We're going to go balls to the wall. We're going to go full on aggression. And it almost worked for them. Let me tell you. Summary of the game is the Custody bikes came flying up. The Gallant, the Gallant went up one side, the Crusader went up the other side, and in their first turn they cleared out all the guard screen again instantly, and then did really battered the Knight. We used the rotate iron shields with 3 up influence save, but even then we took a beating. But we weren't. I don't think we were quite lowered down a bracket. They had to do 1 more wound to lower us down a bracket. Our turn comes around, and we're gonna kill the Crusader, because the Gallant's not gonna get us next turn, so we're gonna kill the Crusader. Fire everything into the Crusader. Don't kill it. The Knight, in general, the Castellan whiffed, and the Crusader was good with its saves. In fact, I don't even think we knocked it down a bracket. Maybe we knocked it down to 17 wounds or something. So we were like, okay, this game is now on, okay, because we need. And so they went again. Now, fortunately, the mortars were able to. The mortars were still there, so the mortars were able to screen against the Custodes, just about. And their Terminators came in, and so they were all over us turn 2, and they didn't quite kill our Knight. I think they did a lot of damage to it, but they didn't quite. No, that's it. They didn't do much damage to it at all, because rotate iron shields again, and we were good with our saves that time. It balanced out because we didn't make any the first time, but we made them the second time. Our turn comes around, and the Castellan gets angry. He gets very angry. I come in, and I'm like, I'm going to take the Gallant on. I biophages it up, I get the extra attacks, I might from beyond my aberrants, so suddenly my aberrants have got 4 attacks each. Which means my hypermorphs had 10 attacks each, because they get 3 base, 1 for the biophages, 1 for might from beyond. 10 attacks each. Insane. Absolutely insane. So, and I was like, I'm going to take the Gallant on. I'm going to rip a Gallant apart. The Castellan didn't even let me do it. The Castellan went bonkers. It got maximum shots on everything. Overcharged itself, almost killed itself on the... did loads of wounds on its overcharge, Plasma Decimator. And it took out both Knights in 1 turn. The Volcano Lance killed a Gallant in 1 go, did 33 wounds to it. The Plasma Decimator finished off the Crusader. So that obviously was a big swing in our favour. But this was Maelstrom of War. At this point, we'd only scored 2 points, and in our opponent's 2 turns, they scored 8. We were really, really far behind. And it wasn't over then. The Custodes come in. The Knight decides it's going to charge the Custodes bikes. But they had they didn't have Hurricane Bolts on the bikes. They had some sort of melter missile salvo launcher, is it? I don't know. You got 2 6s to hit. Wounded. We didn't make either 4 Bimvon. It did 10 damage to our Castellan and put our Castellan down to 4 wounds. 4 wounds. Something crazy. He almost killed us on Overwatch. We were very lucky that they didn't then kill us when we charged in. They didn't then kill us with the lances. But basically the Knight then I think the Knight then died but didn't explode. The aberrants were able to get over to the Custodes, and went nuts. The Aberrants tore through the bikes, tore the Terminators. The knight was able to kill the Terminators before it died. I know that. And then so without barely taking any casualties, they tore through the bikes, and then they got charged by a 5-man custody squad. Lost half the squad, and the remaining 5 still had Might from Beyond on, still had an extra attack, and tore the Custodian Guard apart, tore them to pieces. And the neophytes dropped down, and with 100 re-rolling shots, hitting on 2s re-rolling, we used all our command points up in like one go, killed the Custodian captain who had deep struck down to take an objective. So we ended up tabling them, but sudden death didn't matter. Okay, sudden death didn't matter. So we looked at the points, and it was like, holy shit, they've got 13 points, we've got 10. Now we had a couple of we had a defend objective and an advance. Okay, but it was end of turn 5. We had to roll the dice to see if it went on. If the dice hadn't gone, if the game didn't go on, even though our opponents had been tabled, they would have won by 3 points. We rolled the dice. I was like, Jez, you got to roll it. I can't take the pressure. I'm rolling ones all game. Jez rolled the dice, got a 6. The game went on, and we were able to win. We got line breaker. We got a defend. We got advance out of deployment zone. And we got one other, like a secure objective something. And we ended up winning 15-13. Very close. The Jez was basically wiped down to just a couple of commanders. And my Aberrants were pretty much all, I think most of them had died between sort of battle shock and stuff. The Aberrants were gone, so all that was left in the field of battle was a Patriarch and 40 neophytes roughly. That was all that was left. So very close game. Both sides absolutely smashing each other. We ended up we didn't get first strike. That was the interesting thing. We failed to get first strike. I remember that. But we did again. We got both warlords. So we were killing a lot of warlords. Just looking at the time, guys. This video is going on quite long now, so I might split this down to 2 parts. But we'll see. I might do an extra long 1.5-hour video. We'll see how it goes. So third game played against third game of the day. We played against Owen and Callum. Very nice guys. And they had a very strong list. They'd won their first 2 games as well. They had a very strong list. It was Custodes and Admech. And the Custodes was all bikes and a shield captain. Something like that, or no, 2 squads of bikes and a shield captain on bike, and then 3 token custodian guard. I think they couldn't afford the 3rd squad of bikes. The Admech was 2 squads of rangers, a squad of breachers with not grav. What the fuck's it called? It's the one that's like a grenade launcher cannon, strength 6, AP mass something. Why can't I remember what it's called? Arc, right, arc cannons, heavy arc cannons or whatever. And 3 Castellan, so squad of 4 of them, 3 Castellan robots, Dakar robots, 2 Iron Striders, and Call. Iron Striders had twin las cannon. And we got first turn. We were like, yes, finally we got first turn. A mission was Maelstrom again, I believe. Yes, mission was Maelstrom. I can't remember what it was. Apologies. Oh, it was one where I can't remember the name. it was one where you got like 4 cards every turn, but you could spend a command point, and one of your opponents couldn't score one of those objectives. It was quite good actually. And so we played clandestine goals so that the enemy didn't know what cards we had, so they couldn't try and stop us from scoring them. So we got first turn, and we were like, yes, first turn, amazing, boom, finally. We're just gonna wipe out those Dakabots. We're just gonna wipe a unit a turn. The knight's gonna go nuts. The knight whiffed so. That's not true. The knight did really well. Our opponents were there. When you think about it, nearly their entire army, all the good stuff in their army had a 4-up invulnerable save, and they were rolling them like it was a 2-up invulnerable save. No problem with that. 40k is a dice game. But, when you got 9 wounds on a Dakabot squad from Call's Wrath, and they make something like 7 of the saves on a 4-up, and both of those saves make and like loads of them are 6s, so you take immortal wounds back from the shield, and the Volcano Lance just, only manages to kill like 1 of them. So Call's Wrath killed like 1, the Volcano Lance killed 1, everything else bounced off. The missile missed. It was just awful. So we didn't get first strike from a full Castellan blob. Shooting. It was insane. Their turn came around, and their Custodian's Bike do what Custodian's Bikes do. Started clearing house on the guard. And very quickly they get first strike, but it very quickly comes around to our turn again. Come on, Kit Kat. There you go. Go down. There we go. Commissar Cat Kylo wants to say hello. So very quickly became our turn again. We were like, right, okay, draw, scour the skies, cool, let's kill a squad of Custodes Bikes. Castellan Knight opens up on a squad of Custodes Bikes with everything. Doesn't roll particularly well. Whiffs, gets 4 shots with a reroll on Call's thing, 2 shots from the lance, blah, blah, blah. They make all the 4-up saves again, kill 1 bike. At this point, we're like, this isn't going well. They're going to kill the knight, and we kind of need the knight. So I was like, okay, oh yeah, and in their turn, they had managed to do like 12 wounds or something, or they'd almost got the knight down a bracket with just 4 las cannons, because we had a 3-up rerollable save with rotate iron, 3-up save with the iron rotated iron shield with a reroll. We failed all 4, and then they got and then they ended up doing almost half wounds to the knight. It's like 13 wounds. It's 13 wounds to the knight. So that was horrible. So we're like, bloody hell. Okay, we're getting battered here. And I think I made a tactical mistake. I think I should have deployed my forces centrally and used the knight as support, and we should have gone on the aggression. And as it was, I was like, okay, I'm going to draw attention away from the knight, and I went out and lone wolfed it a little bit with my Gene Stealers. My Aberrants went in and took care of the las cannon Iron Striders, and my Neophytes went against the squad of 3 Custodian Guard, because I wanted to start clearing away their troops and stuff, so that we could start taking objective stuff. One of our cards was to clear one of their units off an objective, and for us to end up getting it, which we could do. And I got my rolled to get my smite off. I need to get smite on a 4, and I failed. Even with a reroll, I failed. Didn't get Might from Beyond off on my. Oh, that was it. No, I got Might from Beyond off on the Aberrants, but didn't get smite off on a 4, which was annoying, because I wanted to try and smite down some of the Custodian Guard. So it's like, right, Neophytes, off you go. 100 shots, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. Because hopefully, I should have been able to smite down 1 and then kill the others with my auto guns, because I'd done 6 wounds to a Custodian Captain in the last game, so I thought I'll do the same thing again. I think I did 1 wound. My opponent made 30 2-up saves. 29 out of 30 2-up saves, something like that. was 31 because yeah, it was 10 wounds, 8 wounds, 8 wounds, 5 wounds from the squads, and one squad whiffed. So it was just like, you know, the saves were so. But that's what custodians are meant to do. So that was tough. Yeah, that was tough. That was tough to accept. But you know, again, it is what it is. So, but because of that, the knight whiffing 2 turns in a row, them not failing, failing saves, yeah, it just went downhill from there. And again, it was one of those where they got to score their cards. They were scoring cards. We were getting things like score an objective, defend objective. Oh, it's the one on their side of the map. We can't get to it, kind of thing. I think, honestly, though, taking luck out of the equation, because it's not like we didn't do any damage. I mean, by the end of the game, we killed all the custodian bikes. We killed all the robots. They only had call left and like some rangers. So it was a brutal battle. They had a fair bit left actually, but and there's a cool bit where my patriarch got charged by a load of stuff, and I was just making. He was surrounded by neophytes, sort of, and he had like 15 neophytes around him, and like I think 12 of them jumped in front of him, and he didn't take any damage, and then he just ripped apart a full squad of Cataphron breachers, ripped them apart. And he was on full wounds, and my opponent ended up having to send Call in against him to kill him. Call was the only thing that they had that was like, that had a chance. They shot my Patriarch down to like 3 wounds, and then charged Call in, and Call had to use a reroll on a D3 damage weapon to kill my Patriarch. Otherwise, the Patriarch was going to kill him. So it was really, that was a cool moment. That's the moment we got. That's the moment we got a picture of as well. Pardon me. So yeah, that was all cool. Unfortunately, we lost that game. It wasn't by much though. I think we lost by 3 points. So nothing. Close game. We pulled it back. Both sides were absolutely battered by the end of it. I got tabled, and all they had left was Call and like a custodian guard and one of the Dakar bot, some stuff like that. And all we had left was a knight on like 5-6 wounds and a couple of guard officers basically. So both armies were pretty battered. But our opponents won it. Props to them. I think they played it very well. I think I made the mistake going off being a lone wolf. I think I committed too much to distracting my opponent. I don't think I should have brought the aberrants in turn 2. I think I should have brought the aberrants in turn 3. Cleared away the Iron Striders with like the Patriarch and the auto gun neophyte. Should have cleared them away that way. Aberrant should have come in afterwards and taken apart the custodies. That's what I should have done. I didn't do that. I ended up wasting a 266 point aberrant unit on a couple of Iron Striders. My aberrants then got torn apart from shooting and custody bikes. So that was my mistake there. I did what our opponents did in the first game. I saw a gap, got too excited, went for it, fucked it up. And again, but even with that, our luck was a little low. We'd had some, to be honest, at the end of the first day, me and Jez said that night, it's had one round of shooting where it's gone nuts and killed 2 knights in a go, and the rest of the time, it's flubbed. Either through our opponent's good luck or through our bad luck. It whiffed. And I have to say, at the end of the day, and I've faced Castellans plenty of times, and it was the first time that I've been on the same side as a Castellan, and I have to say, I'm not that impressed. Which might sound insane, and I'm sure there's loads of very, very good tournament players out there who, if they bother to watch this video, will be shaking their heads at me. Okay, fine, fair enough, I get it. But it just seemed to... the moment it came across an invulnerable save, it just seemed to whiff. Just seemed to fail, basically. So at the end of the first day, we were sitting on 2 wins and a minor, a big win, a little win, and a little loss. I was happy with that. And it's my first 2-day event in a while, and I was knackered after my first day. And I would have been happy to go home then, because it's nice, nice to win two, lose one kind of thing. But we had the second day. Had a lovely dinner on that night. Went to a bar and grill. Got gammon, egg and chips. Ugh, mwah, perfect. It was really nice. Anyway, getting distracted. So going to the second day, and I say to Jez, look, okay, I'd like to win one more. I'd like to go to I wouldn't be disappointed, but I'd feel a bit bleh if I'd gone to an event, travelled, almost like an hour and a half to 2 hours when you factor in giving Jez a lift, taking him home, both ways, and I only win 2 out of 3. I only win 2 out of 3. I mean, I want, it's my first tournament back in a while. I'd like to win another one. And Jez is like, yeah, I'd like. He was like, he said, we'll aim. He was like, let's try and win the next 2 games. Let's see what happens. So the fourth game rolls around, and I know it's going to be a good one because you know what? It's orcs, double orcs. Mission is Beachhead, and it's a slugfest, absolute slugfest, and it was a really, really good game. Our opponents had a strong. They'd won 3 games up until that point, or 1, 2, lost 1 maybe. I think they were the same as us. And they had an Evil Sun's army, which was very fluffy. Which had a plane, had a scrapjet, had a battle wagon with burner boys and a big mech in there. The big mech was a mega armored big mech, and it was a really cool custom. Wasn't a custom model, but it was like a limited run from 2012 orc arena robot model. It looked so cool. So yeah, that was his thing, and his teammate had Goths in a big blob of 30 boys. He had a couple of squads of grots, and there's some killer cans in there as well. I don't know which. They were Evil Sons, and then they had a Death Dread, and then they had a Morkanaut or a Gorkanaut. I can't remember which one it was. It's the one which had the Zap gun and the Mega Zap gun. And then they had a blob of 15 Storm Boys with the Storm Boy characters Zagstruck. So cool. So they get turn 1. No. We get turn 1. Thank God we got turn 1. I think getting turn 1 won us the game. Okay? So what happened was we didn't do that much damage to him. Our opponents, let me tell you, invulnerable saves are the bane of my life. Absolute bane. The knight fully unloads into the Morkanaut or Gorkanaut and does only does 10 wounds to it. Our opponents had to make something like 12 5-up saves on it, maybe 10 5-up invulnerable saves, and he only failed 3 or 2. It was almost nothing. He failed 1 plasma decimator one, which got 3 wounds on it, because his Call's Wrath overcharged, and then it took 7 from a volcano shot. That was it. It just saved everything. It was glorious. I wasn't even angry. I was not even angry because with orcs you can never be angry when playing orcs because it's always great people. Oh, what my opponent's name? I should give them a shout out. It was Owen and Callum in game 3, and this was Chris and Rick in game 4. Okay. So we're like, all right, fair enough. But what we did do is we managed to move an infantry squad onto the middle objective. Okay, and I said to Jez, right, and for a change, I didn't deep strike my entire army, I should say. Only the aberrants deep struck in, all the neophytes started on the board. And I said, Jez, all we have to do is throw every infantry squad we have at that middle objective. That's all we have to do. And as long as we can hold it for a turn or two and then stop them from having it, we're going to win. So we moved the infantry squad first turn. And the way the terrain was, they couldn't get great line of sight on us with shooting. And orc shooting isn't that great anyway. So they killed us down to like 2 guys in that front squad. But we spent 2, because we used take cover to make him a 4+ save, and then we spent 2 command points to make him fearless. And like 1 conscript or 2 little guardsmen got us the turn 2 rolls around. We score the points beginning of turn 2. Boom, we're winning. We didn't get first strike though, which was annoying. And they'd have jumped, and I think they made a slight tactical error here. They'd have jumped the 30-boy blob and put it on our flank to start clearing away the screen, because they wanted to deep strike behind us. I think if they had jumped, or not even, I guess it's the way they deployed. They were very afraid of our firepower, so they deployed, even though it was Dawn of War, they deployed all in one corner in the middle. And I think if they had not done that, I think if they had gone everything down the centre, Orky style, I think they overthought it. Everything down the centre, Orky style, and they put 30 boys on that centre objective and just kept throwing men at that objective, they would have won. It's very difficult for us to shift 30 boys, especially when they made them Ard boys and they've got Unstoppable Green Tide. That would have been very difficult to deal with. But as it was, our opponents were jumping sort of all over the place, basically. Now, what happened was he jumped and cleared out a squad of guard and then couldn't charge them. So 30 boys killed 10 guardsmen with an autocannon. All right, fair enough. And they cleared out a bit of the other guards screen with the burner boys and everything. Because the burner boys were in a battle wagon. The battle wagon got a huge advance, and the burner boys have got assault weapons. They were still able to shoot with them. They toasted a bit of guard. But as it, and they flew, and there was a hero neophyte moment when he had to make 3 5-up saves, and he got a 6 on every single one. 666, number of the beast. So that was cool. And then our turn, so that was their turn 1. Our turn 2 rolls around, and I'm like, right, we've got men on the objective, and we've got more neophytes. We've got 20 more. We've got like another 10 guard who are heading towards the objective. Got another 40 neophytes heading for the objective. The knight's going to start moving forward to put pressure on them. We need to distract them to keep them away from the middle objective. That's all we have to do. So my aberrants come in. And they come in the back against what's left of the Morkanaut, the Killer Cans, and the Death Dread. I get the perfect ambush. I get the 6. I get Might from Beyond, and I'm looking at, so they're strength 6, and I'm looking at that Morkanaut and the Death Dread and stuff, and they're toughness 7, so I'm like, right, go Biophage to see what I get. I get +1 strength or +1 attacks. I decide to go with +1, what did I go for? I went for the +1 strength. Because I wanted to I want to win things on 4s. So that was nice. Got that off. And then they went into all 3, cleared out 3 Killer Cans of Death Dread and a 10 wound Morkanaut in one go. Power Hammers. The two hypermorphs went into what was left of the Death Dread of the Morkanaut, annihilated it. 16 attacks, hitting on 2s. I'd rerolling 1s against that. Wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s, annihilated it. 2 power hammers went into the Death Dread, smashed it, and all the pickaxes went into the Killer Cans, tore them limb from limb. Absolutely fantastic. So that shook them up. That shook them up badly, because that was their wave of mechs that they were going to send onto the objective. That's what it was. That was there. That's what we're going to take the middle point with. Suddenly, it's all gone. So, that distracted them. So, in return, they, I think, made a panic decision. Or maybe not a panic decision. Panic's the wrong word. It sounds derogatory. No, they made a reactionary decision. They were like, oh shit, we've got to deal with those aberrants. And to be fair, they did. But at the same time, those aberrants were kind of, off behind enemy lines now. But they weren't really in the game. They were, but they were still within striking distance of the objective. So I guess they did have to deal with them. So what they do is they send they jump the 30 boys against them, and they bring in the Storm boys against all the supporting characters, and they get it off. They kill all the supporting characters with the Storm boys, and the 30-man Orc blob, or maybe like 27 Orc blob at this point, went in against the Aberrants, and interestingly, the two Hypermorphs survived, but they weren't going to survive with leadership. I still got 16 attacks. I still had Might from Beyond on them. But unfortunately, I whiffed my rolls. And he had 6 up saves, and he was lucky. But I still managed to tear apart like 8 Orcs, which is not too bad. Not too bad. I was hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. So it's not, but no rerolls of any kind. So tearing apart 8 Orcs was not too bad. I think I got my first tail kill as well. But then again, their Orc boys weren't really in position. The Storm boys weren't in position because they basically deep struck all those Urs in our half, in their half. The scrap jet came in. They cleared us off the middle objective. They cleared us off at the end of their turn 2. So then, and they get the big mech. They made a get. They want to try and kill the knights. They send the scrap jet against the knight. They send the Orc big mech against the knight, and they clear out the screen of guardsmen and neophytes that were in the centre, with the burner boys who flamed then charged. Turn 3, they didn't kill. They damaged the knight, but didn't kill the knight. The knight in return squashed the scrap jet, fell back, killed the battle wagon with all its big guns, and used the 4 melters on the big mech and killed him. Which was, it had one good turn. It'd been sort of flubbing up until that point. Like one round, I think it killed like 4 Orc boys with everything. It was ridiculous. The knight whiffed sometimes hard. And then the Patriarch went finished off the burner boys. So what happened was, that was it. No, that was it. They charged the burner boys. They killed some of the screening units, and they charged, I think it was 7-man burner boy into my Patriarch. And again, the familiar ate one of the wounds. 3 guys jumped in front of the other wounds, and he just tanked the rest and took like 2 wounds damage. And in return, he just casually snipped the heads off the Orc 6 Orc burner boys. Just no effort, just killed them all. It was beautiful. I loved it. It was really cool. The Patriarch, it was interesting because people were seeing the Patriarch as like a buffing character, and then they often charged him with something. Like in the 3rd game, they charged him with some robots. In this game, they charged him with some burner boys. So I thought, oh well, we'll kill him. And he just annihilated anything he gets into combat with. He annihilated. He was a really good counter-attack unit. And the last burner boy tried to ran away, but I like to imagine the Patriarch caught him and ate his brains. And then that was basically it. I'd lost most of my neophytes. I had one 10-man squad left, and my Patriarch. And they were nowhere near the middle objective. They couldn't get to the middle objective, and it ended turn 4. And the final score was 6 points to us and 5 points to them. So it was a close game. Yeah, it was a close game. But it was a really fun game because you're playing orcs. Both sides really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So we were happy that. So I said to Jez, look, I'm happy with that. You know, it's a close game. It's a fun game. Let's just take game 5 easy. If we win it, we win it. If we don't, whatever. So game 5 comes along, and we play against Rich and Neil, and they had what I would have said, they'd won 4 games in a row with this list, and I wasn't surprised at all. I think their list was possibly the hardest one we faced. It was something like 6 Talos, 2 Cronus, or something. It was a Talos. It was Dark Elder and Khorne Berserkers and World Eaters. And they had the Dark Elder player just had all the Talos he could afford. That's all he had. Full Talos blob with a couple of supporting characters. And the World Eater player had 3 Rhinos. 2 Rhinos had... I'm trying to think what it was now. 2 Rhinos had 4 5-man squads in them. And 1 Rhino had a bigger squad with... There was a Master of Possession, Khan the Betrayer, and an Aspiring Champion, Exalted Champion in there. And they got turn 1. Sadly, they seized, I think. I think we had turn 1, but they seized. Which is first seized of the tournament, which is cool. And I again decided to deploy everything on because I wanted to screen, and it was Maelstrom. And it's this weird Maelstrom one where you roll a dice at the beginning of the game and you remove a certain amount of cards. And we had to remove all our defend objective cards, which meant we had basically no 2-point objectives. And they had to remove some stupid, useless ones. Like it was something they had all the score objective ones and all the defend objective ones. And then deployments and everything, they had all the objectives in their half. You know, it was perfectly lined up for them. And so they got turn 1. They fly forward with the Rhinos, obviously. Pop smoke, obviously. The Talos come forward, obviously. Start blasting away the screen. All good. Get first strike. Score 3 cards in the first turn. Wow. Okay. So our turn comes along. We get a respectable. We get like a score objective 1. Yeah, score objective, and then like kill something. And one was kill, score objective, scour the skies, and ambush something in. It was a Gene Silicon one. Ambush something in. So we couldn't get the ambush something in one. We got the score objective one. So we scored 1 point. We blow open one of the Rhinos and managed to kill one of the Berserker squads and damage another Berserker squad down to like 3 guys. And then we're like, right, scour the skies. Let's shoot. Let's kill a Talos squad. It's not too bad. We've got a full knight, guard gun line. Let's open up. Opponent makes a ridiculous number of 4-up saves. I have to say, I really don't want this to be the thing that comes away from this video because it sounds like all I'm moaning about is 4-up saves. It's not, right? It's invulnerable saves. When our opponents had to make a 3-up invulnerable save, they couldn't make them. When our opponents had to make a 5-up invulnerable save, they couldn't make them. But a 4-up invulnerable saves, our opponents, it was like that sweet spot. And no matter who we played against, it was all invulnerable saves. If our opponent had an invulnerable save, they just made it. It was just a theme. It was just the theme of the event, and it was fine. Whatever. Oh, pardon me. My Patriarch made. I think it was the same for anyone really. It was the same for the whole event. My Patriarch made a ridiculous number of 5-up invulnerable saves. The Knight, apart from once or twice, made a ridiculous number of sort of 4-up invulnerable saves. who, if you had invulnerable saves, you were making them at that tournament. Basically, that was the feeling in the air. So the berserkers come in and start tearing through neophytes. Fine, they're there to screen, not a problem. I can fall. What they do doesn't kill, I'm able to fall back and shoot with. The Talos start making a mess of the guard. Our opponents draw 3 cards again, and again it's like defend an objective, score and score 2 objectives. Defend an objective, score an objective, kill a unit. Kind of a Dark Elder one, like do damage to 3 separate units. So they score 3 cards again. It's like, fuck me, you've scored 6 cards in 2 turns. It's like absolutely fantastic. Props to our opponents. And they had good board control. But those tiles are quite quick because you can move them around. Then you can fire and fade and shit, so you can move all over the place. And rhinos can go flying off and capture an objective. So they had all the score and defend cards, and we didn't really have any way of stopping them from getting them. So our turn 2 rolls around and the aberrants come in, and I'm like, you know what? Let's stress test. So I can already see they're going to win the VP game. If they keep going, they're on 10 victory points in 2 turns. We're on 2 first strike and score an objective. So I'm already there thinking, this game's going a certain way, right? This game's going a certain way. Fine. I'm going to stress test these aberrants. I'm going to see if because there was about 25 Khorne Berserkers and 3 characters. I'm going to see if my aberrants can take that on. Okay. The way the guy's making his invulnerable saves on the Talos, I don't want to go near him. And the Knight should, in theory, be able to start killing them. So it's like, whatever, fine. Let's see if the aberrants can take on the Khorne army. Okay. So I send my aberrants in, and I get the 6 in the perfect ambush, and I get in against 2, basically 15 Khorne Berserkers. And I slaughter them. All of them. It wasn't 15 Khorne Berserkers, sorry. I got into every Khorne Berserker. It was like a 3-man squad, a 7-man squad, and 2 5-man squads or something crazy. It was something ridiculous. Okay, it was something like 20 Khorne Berserkers, but I got Might from Beyond off, and I got the extra attack off because I didn't need the strength. Already strength 6. So each aberrant had 4 pickaxe attacks, and then he gets to make an attack with his Rending Claw as well for each pickaxe attack he makes. So 4 Rending Claw attacks. So each aberrant's got 8 attacks. So that's 8 times 6. And then the hypermorphs have got 10 attacks each. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s. And I just carve through the Rhine. I just charge everything. I carve through it all. All the Berserkers die. The Rhinos either die or get taken down. The Rhinos don't die, actually, but they get battered. I just absolutely just tore through all of it. It was beautiful to behold. It was a max buff aberrant squad going nuts on the Khorne Berserker army, and I just tore through them. On the other hand, the Talos again just survived everything. I think we killed 1 with a Knight. But fortunately, we were able to score in that round. I claimed Dominion, which was score D3 if you take an objective off an opponent with a Genius of Cult unit. And I had score D3, score 1 point if you ambush, score D3 points if you ambush and kill an enemy unit. So I got 2D3, and I got 3 points from one and 2 points from the other. So suddenly they were on 10 points, and we jumped up to 7. Oh, we got Sky of the Sky, so we jumped up to 8. So suddenly it wasn't too bad. But then guess what? Our opponents scored. They got 2 defend objective 1. Our opponents scored a D3 one which got them 3 points. Another defend which got them 2 points, and then another score objective which got them 6. They jumped up to 16 points. We're on 7, maybe 8, and it's fuck. we're scoring hard. You know, we're scoring really hard. It's just not enough. So then, I'm like, right. I want, and then, this was it. They get, the Talos are just going against, I don't really see what's going on that side of the map. I just see the Talos advancing towards the Knights. Occasionally one or two dies. The Guard are getting slaughtered, whatever. I want to kill the Khorne, but me and the Khorne guy are grudging each other. Not in a horrible way, we're having a competitive game. Me and the Khorne guy are grudging each other. So, not a competitive game, we're having a friendly game. It's like, come on, let's see what goes on. So he sends Khan the Betrayer, Exalted Champion, Master of Possessed into my Patriarch. And the Patriarch survives because I get lucky on my invuln saves and everyone jumps in front of the Patriarch and the Familiar takes a wound. Okay, Khan the Betrayer didn't kill the Patriarch. Patriarch interrupts against Khan the Betrayer. I hit with all my attacks. I wound with 4 of them and get 4 6s, which means they are flat 3 damage each. Okay, the 2 I don't wound with, I get to reroll because the monster running claws and get 2 more 6s. Okay, what this means is each one of those wounds is a flat 3 damage. Okay, so my opponent, and Khan the Betrayer has only got like 4, maybe 5 wounds. Okay, which means my opponent has to make at least 5 out of 6 4-up invulnerable saves. Okay, statistically he couldn't do it. Statistically he couldn't do it. He rolls the dice, makes every single one, and that won them the game. That won the game, hands down, no questions asked. I'll explain why later. Because if that hadn't happened and Khan had died, his other 2 characters flubbed their attacks, and Khan got to attack again because he's a World Eater. Right? So he then manages to kill the Patriarch because there's no one left to jump in front of the Patriarch and the Familiar is dead. But if he hadn't done that, the Patriarch would then have lived. So we would have got a kill for Warlord, and we wouldn't have got a kill for Warlord, but we wouldn't have given up a Warlord point then, okay? And then we would have been able to kill the Exalted Champion, which was their Warlord, easily next turn. Easily. That won them the game. No, that was a 2-point swing, okay? 2-point swing. It comes around to our turn, and I draw the card, which means for each unit I kill with a Genestealer Cult unit or Broodbrother unit, I get a point. And there's 2 rhinos and 2 characters sat in front of me. Okay? 2 rhinos and 3 characters sat in front of me. Okay, but the way it is the rhinos are sort of screening the characters. So it goes sort of rhino, Khan, and then I can't fit through the gap to get to the other 2 characters because Khan was still alive. Now what would have happened is, what I did is I charged in against Khan and the 2 rhinos. Okay, kill them all and get 3 points. But I didn't use anywhere near all my attacks. I got, I slaughtered them again. I was even without Might from Beyond, the rhinos were damaged, and Khan couldn't take on. He didn't roll. He almost made it again, but he didn't. But what would have happened is I would have been able to get 4 points. As it was, I only got 3. So you keep a tally of this. There's been a 3-point swing here. Okay? Because they got Warlord, they didn't give up Warlord. Okay? And we only scored 3 instead of 4 points. So with 3 points, there's a 3-point difference there. Okay? So then the Chaos guy is able to basically just run away with his characters. And I'm not able to catch him because all my neophytes are dead and my aberrants aren't fast enough to catch him. He gets a couple of 6 on advances. He just runs away, hides behind cover. Knight can't get him. That's it. So the game. But what happens is the game ends, and we start drawing some good cards, and they start slowing down a little bit on cards, and their final score gets to 21. Okay, 21. their final score. So in the last 3 turns of the game, they only scored 5 more points. And we get up to 19. 19 points. We lost by 2. If Khan hadn't made 6, if Khan had he made all of them. If Khan had failed the statistical amount of 4-up saves, he should have failed, even with a re-roll. We would have won the game because Khan wouldn't have killed the Patriarch. We would have got their Warlord, so it would have been a point to us, a point away from them. So they would have been on 20, and we would have been on 20, and then we would have been able to get an extra point from Claim Dominion or whatever it's called, or Lay Low the Oppressors, whatever it's called. No doubt in my mind we could have done that. Because the Patriarch would have been able to get the characters, one of the characters. Yeah, so that's it. One thing happened. But you know what? I'm not even mad. I'm not mad at all. Because clearly the Blood God was favouring his champion that day. Clearly. Khorne was watching. And what can you say? That is cinematic. You know, there's been in the fluff several times. Khan has died. And Khorne has brought him back, or has protected him. And it's very cinematic for Khan to just make a beeline for the enemy warlord and kill him, and claim his head. So you know what? I wasn't even mad. And our opponents were really good guys, and it was a really close game. And they had won 4 games. They won every game they played. They won every game they played. So hats off to them. I don't know if I said their names. It was Rich and Neil. Absolutely hats off to them. You know, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we didn't get the Dark Elder Warlord either. No, yeah, two points in it. Two points in it, and Khan the Betrayer won them the game. Which, you know what, I'm not even mad, because Khan the Betrayer should win you the game. Khan is what a boss, absolute boss. So that was the tournament result in the end. That was the tournament at the end. We had 3 wins, 2 losses. The first loss we only lost by 3 Maelstrom points. The second loss we only lost by 2 Maelstrom points. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic tournament. Highly recommend it all. Thank you to all my opponents for being such great guys, and for 5 fantastic games. Thank you to Games Workshop for hosting such a fantastic event. Highly recommend it. And I also want to say thank you to Alex Smith, who's a subscriber, who actually came down and we met in person. It's absolutely fantastic to meet my first subscriber in real life. Milestone moment for the Mordian Glory channel. And it's definitely made me think, absolutely, Alex, thank you for making the effort to come visit me. Really, really appreciate that. And definitely, it's made me think, definitely want to do some sort of like more fan, interactions if possible. Real life does get in the way, but if possible, do some more fan interactions. It'd be great to do some sort of like, some sort of fan battle reports, or even just some fan games. Don't have to battle report everything, but just have some fan games. That'd be nice. So that's something I'm maybe looking forward to doing just going forward basically. So yeah, absolutely shattered, guys. 5 games, 2 long days, lots of driving, not a lot of sleep, because I was excited. Now, there's a little, not to get all soppy and emotional on you guys, this is sort of the end of the tournament report, so if you want to end here, you can do. There's a little bit of context, this tournament. So this was the first tournament I've been to in a while. Okay, first tournament I've been to in a while. And the reason for that was the last tournament I went to, I had a very bad experience. Some of you may remember. I'm not going to go into the details with it. So remember, I did report what happened. I did talk about what happened. But I had a very bad experience with a cheater, and an all-round general horrible person. at the last tournament I went to, I called him out about it, and he went out. He said I called him out in like it's never going to go well, is it, when you call someone out on the internet? Don't get me wrong, I totally understand that, but I did call him out on it, unemotionally. It was very objectively. I said, like, look, you obviously cheated. You should know better than this. You're a top tournament player. Hell, you were helping run this event, and you cheated at your own event and because of the cheating you did, you actually won your own event. So I called him out on that kind of stuff, and he, unfortunately, I kept it very unemotional, and he got very emotional very quickly. Understandable, but he started accusing me of all sorts of horrible things, personal threats, all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to deal with that shit. Rightly or wrongly, I took down everything I said about it because it was drawing a lot of negative attention. That's not what I wanted my channel to be about, so I pulled it all down. Not because of, fuck that guy, I don't care what he thinks. But not because of that, but just because I didn't want that that was the reason people were coming to the channel, right? I want people to come to the channel for tactics videos. So I pulled that stuff down, but it left a very sour taste in my mouth. I do not, don't appreciate someone sending me physical and verbal, sending me horrible messages and physical threats over the internet. I don't appreciate that at all. And then before that, the 2 tournaments I'd been to before that, I'd also had really bad experiences with not the same player I had in the last tournament, but I played the same guy twice, and both times I had a really, really bad experience with it. Again, I'll tell the story in another video. The story of the hero conscript and the hero conscript versus that guy. I might do a video on that. I'm sure some people would like to hear that. The hero conscript versus that guy. But basically, I had a really bad experience. Someone got in my face and all that at a tournament of bloody toy soldiers. Absolute joke. So basically, I'd had 3 bad tournament experiences, and I'd faced that guy a lot, and it really, it put me off a little bit, and it made me, and I wanted to do some like self-reflecting, because obviously if you go into every tournament and you seem to be coming across like that, a knob end, you've got to take a step back and think, are you being the dickhead? Is it me? Am I causing this reaction from people? So I like to think I didn't. I personally don't think I did, and the people I play with, and the people that were witness to it, said I had a lot no, and what was really nice is when I had that issue with the guy being horrible to me online, a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of people I know came out and defended me, and that was very nice. So I don't think I'm a dickhead, but sometimes it's nice to take a step back, reflect, reset, and then go back into it. So there was I was a little nervous going into this tournament, because I was like, I keep going to tournaments and I keep having bad experiences, winning games and stuff, or losing games and stuff, but coming across bad people. So I really wanted this event to go well, and I think I did it right. So I went to the event with a big group of 14 people. I didn't know any of them apart from Jez, but I made good friends with all of them. Really enjoyed they're all really nice guys. Every opponent I met was nice. And I think it was because it was a doubles event that was nice, and I think because there was no like prizes or anything really. It's a GW event. It's not competitive. There's no ITC rankings. It doesn't matter. So people were very casual. People were allowed to. It's 900 points, so you couldn't bring anything too horrible. So I think it was the right way to get back into it. So the plan is, guys, I will now be getting back into tournaments big style again. I've had time to reflect, had time to reset, and we'll be getting into tournaments again in a big way. I've got 2 that I'm lined up to go to. One in June, big ones, 2 days. One in June, one October, maybe August, October. So I got 2 there. And then there's loads of 1-days I'm going to start going to. My plan is I want to go to at least one a month. At least one a month, maybe 2. You know, I really want to be smashing the tournament scene and keeping up with the meta. Because at the moment, so the last, I think it's been like 9 months, maybe longer since my last tournament. And I've been keeping up with the meta by playing with the guys at the club who all play at the club to practice for tournaments. So I've been keeping up with the meta that way. But there's nothing like really keeping your finger on the pulse, like going to tournaments. So that's the plan, and then I can bring some good tactics and lessons learned back from that. So last thing to say, because I don't want to end on a certain note. I want to end on a Mordian glory note, on a tactical analysis note. Last 10 minutes. How did I think my army did? Unit review. Okay, we'll keep it short and sweet. First off, neophytes. They're okay, but you need a lot more than 50 of them, firstly, and you need special weapons and heavy weapons in there. I've tended to find that auto guns weren't enough, okay? That was definitely... I took them because I figured 100 shots hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s is pretty good anti-horde. I didn't come across a single horde army. Maybe that is a reflection of the tournament we went to, because it was doubles, so 900 points, people couldn't really fit in hordes. So that lesson learned. Neophytes need a bit of punch. Aberrants, fantastic. One thing, problem with them, overkill. Anything they touched died. Problem was then, they just drew so much firepower that they just died. They themselves then died. 10 aberrants might be too much. Okay? Not sure, but I like taking the 2 hypermorphs. The power hammers, a lot of people raised an eyebrow when I took power hammers because people don't rate them over power picks. 2 power hammers is the perfect amount. There were times when the picks didn't quite cut it. Sometimes you just need to bop a big unit on the head. And that definitely was the case here. The heavy improvised weapons are only AP -1. It's not quite enough. Sure, they're strength ×2, but they're only AP -1. They're only flat damage 2. You do need the power hammers in there. There you go. Patriarch, fantastic. Cornerstone to my list. Jackal Alphas, fantastic. Cornerstone to the list. Clamavus did its thing. Primus was good. I don't think I used him to his full ability. I don't think he killed anything all tournament. All he did was provide a +1 to hit buff. I think I need to be more aggressive with him. Got to remember that if the aberrants are going to die typically after they come in, then the Primus sort of does his job then. So why not get him involved as well and do some more damage? Man of the match. Hero of the list, man of the match was definitely the Biophagus. Absolutely fantastic. People think it's unreliable. It's not. You just take the familiar. Yes, it's 12 points, but it still gives you an extra wound if you need it. His Poison Goad actually surprisingly did do a wound to a Custodian's Bike. It's great. You don't take him that though. His ability, his flexibility. People see his buff as random. It's not random. It's flexible. Okay, you roll 2d3, and you can always re-roll one if you don't want it. All right, and you get to pick which one you want. You're pretty much always going to want to aim for the +1 attack or the +1 strength. +1 toughness rarely does anything. Although it would be interesting to maybe use it to see if you're already going to kill. If you already know you're going to kill what you're going to face on 10-man unit, for example, maybe the +1 toughness would help you survive. And then you can get more out of them next turn. Maybe. Okay? But the Biophage is fantastic. Crazy thing is, I think I'm going to be using him in every list going forward. I think he's that good, guys. You don't think it, but he is. And he's decent in close combat as well. Especially with the Primus, because then he hits on 2s. And then he wounds on 2s, because he's got a Poison Goad. And then his Poison Goad, if it hurts you, fucks you up. Yeah, he's a nasty guy. He knows what he's doing. A Biophagus combined with a Primus is something like 8 poison attacks hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s with, lots of bad damage. So definitely consider the Biophagus, guys. He was the hero of the game. He regularly scored a little line breaker. He regularly killed a little person here and there. Yeah, overall fantastic unit. The Clamavus, he didn't shout anyone to death, unfortunately, with his little on a 6. He had plenty of opportunities to do it. He just never managed it, which was unfortunate. Opponents' lists, I think, were the first one was a bit fluffier. The rest of them were hard. Double Knight, Custodes with Admech Gunline, Orc with Speed Freaks is Evil Sons is hardcore. Goths are hardcore. Goths getting 60 extra attacks on 6s when you've got a big blob of boys, it hurts. The last list, Dark Elder Talos, obviously very hardcore. Khorne Berserkers and Rhinos, very powerful. The reason that list does so well is the Talos draw so much firepower that Khorne Berserkers are able to run rampant. My last thing to say is those Khorne Berserkers, right? My opponent with the Khorne Berserkers said I was the only one that killed them all. He said everyone else was so scared of the Talos they kind of ignored them and the Berserkers just took them to town. And he said I dealt with them the way that you meant to deal with them. You charge them. If you've got a good close combat unit that you're confident in, get them into the Berserkers because you'll just wipe them because they're not that tough. They've only got a 3-up save. You try shooting them, often they're in cover or something, so they're actually difficult to remove. You get them in close combat. If they don't charge you, they die. What did I think of the Castellan and Loyal 32? Well, more like Loyal 45, whatever it was. I wasn't over. I thought it was good. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was fantastic. I think the Knight didn't. I don't think we would have benefited from taking anything else instead of the Knight. I don't think we would have either been degraded by not taking the Knight. I think there was a lot of other options in there. I think the Knight did what it did, but it very rarely blew me away. And it actually, even with Rotate Iron Shields, it tended to go down relatively quickly. 10 Aberrants could take apart Castellan easily, and it only hits on 4s in close combat, which I did not know about. It only hits on 4s in close combat. Thoughts of the meta now, and the tournament and sort of other armies I saw. Okay, the armies that I saw doing well, and I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to labour the point. All had access to a large amount of invulnerable saves. Okay. 8th edition is now invulnerable save edition. If you don't have invulnerable saves, you struggle. Badly. Very badly. Okay? Hordes are not really the meta anymore. Okay? You didn't see a lot of hordes there, and the hordes you did see there didn't do very well. They did fine. They didn't do shit. They just did solid mid-tier. Okay? It's the armies that did well were all high value, high toughness, high invulnerable save units and armies. Okay? They absolutely 110%. Invulnerable save spam is a big, I'm going to say it, it's a big problem in 8th edition. It's a big problem. Those armies that don't have access to it get fucked. Genestealer Cult are good, don't get me wrong, but I didn't see a Genestealer Cult army in the top. I think Genestealer Cult are a little bit meta breaking because you do have access to quite a lot of mortal wound spam. So my thing to take away from the tournament would be I need more mortal wound spam. I need ways of getting mortal wounds on my opponents. Okay? I can do that. I can get Patriarchs, I can get Maguses, I can get Allied Guard Psykers. But yeah, You have to be able to just overwhelm invulnerable saves. Taking things like a volcano lance, it's all well and good when your opponent's using things like a Lehman Russ or some hard unit like a Shadow Sword without a invulnerable save, but no one takes those in competitive armies now. So yes, I tended to yeah, there you go. I think it's all about mass firepower, medium strength firepower, okay? Things like autocannons. Put it this way, right? Might sound crazy. If I was to go to that tournament and I knew roughly what I was going to be facing, I wouldn't bring Punisher tanks, I'd bring Exterminators. Sounds crazy, right? Wouldn't say that at the beginning of 8th edition, but that's how 8th edition has changed. At the beginning of 8th, getting an invulnerable save was actually quite hard to get, and getting a Feel No Pain was actually quite hard to get. Think about it. We no longer have in 8th edition 2-up Feel No Pains. I think the best that we tend to come across is like a 4-up Feel No Pain. You know, most armies don't have access to Feel No Pain. If they do, it's like on a character and they get a 6-up, and you're generally considered to be very powerful if you have a 5-up Feel No Pain. So Feel No Pain spam is still where it was at the beginning of 8th. I mean, look at Death Company, for example. But invulnerable save spam has gone wrong, okay? And now we are seeing that everyone and their mums has access to invulnerable saves, and those armies that can spam them win. So there you go. I want to give a shout out to a couple of guard armies that I saw. One which I thought was absolutely fantastic. It was Napoleonic themed. One guy, both players using Mordians. One army modelled as British Napoleonic forces. One army modelled his teammate as Austrian, full on Napoleonic, not Austrian, Prussian. I think it was Prussian. Everything was converted, full Napoleonic theme, movement trays. All the heavy weapon teams were on like cannon carriages, absolutely fantastic. Wyverns were gun carriages being pulled by horses. Sentinels had the big sort of the old fantasy Empire rocket launcher as a rocket launcher. Absolutely fantastic. Those guys were amazing. I chatted to them. Absolute shout out to your army, guys. Fantastic. The other army I saw, which I thought did surprisingly badly, but is a reflection of the meta change, which I want to talk about, was the army that was Death Corps of Krieg allied with Vestroyan. And these guys had about 100 infantry between them and 7 Lehman Russes, roughly. Maybe it was like 80 infantry. Which when I first saw that list, thought that's gonna do really, really well. Every time I saw those guys playing, they seemed to be doing okay, and then just getting smashed. I don't know what they were, but what I tended to see happen was they got brutalized. I don't know if they won or lost their games. I just could see they were really struggling. You can see it when you see it in someone's face. They were really struggling. I think that's a reflection. You know, people think, oh, Lehman Russ spam, it's amazing. But let's look at this, guys. Lehman Russ spam is never on the top table of a tournament, is it? No. It's things which either have a ridiculous amount of minus to hit modifiers, or things which have a ridiculous amount of invulnerable saves. Or some way, or some meta-breaking army like Death Watch or Gene Stealer Cult. Okay? So that's sort of tactical thoughts from the tournament. But there you go, guys. That's it. 2-hour long Mordian Glory video. If you are here at the end, then I take my hat off and salute you. I intended this video to originally be half an hour long. But then I was originally just going to talk about my games very briefly. But then I thought, you know what, let's give a full breakdown. Because, again, it's my first tournament I've been to in a while. Absolutely loved it. I'm getting back into the tournament scene. I'm signed up to a couple already. I'm signing up to more. I will give plenty of opportunity to let you guys know where I'm going to be, so you guys can come and meet me if you want to. I don't blame you if you don't. There you go, guys. Had an absolutely fantastic time. Really good tournament. Highly recommend it. Absolutely loved it. I think I'm gonna try and get the old guard back on the tournament scene. You know, G's and the Court were all right, but I think it's time. Especially if I'm not going to win any painting competitions, I think it's time that the Mordian 50th Rifles March 4th once more. We shall see. We shall see. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave lots of comments. Leave lots of feedback. I've never done one of these after tournament really long reviews before. So let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed it. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.